Welcome to the Lead Well podcast. Around here, we believe leadership shouldn't cost you your peace, your well-being, or the parts of yourself that you have worked so hard to reclaim. I'm your host, Trasetta Washington, leadership wellness coach and strategist. And my mission is to give you practical, actionable steps to help you reduce overwhelm, lead more effectively, and build a sustainable rhythm for both your team and your life. Let's go ahead and dive into today's conversation. Hey leaders, welcome back to the Lead Well podcast. In our last episode, we talked about the first step in my R.E.S.T framework, which is reevaluate. It's the pause that helps you to see clearly before you start to make changes. Now today, we're going to move into the next step, which is E. That stands for Energize. And this is where a lot of leaders get tripped up because most leadership conversations focus on time, strategy, and productivity, but very few talk about energy. But here's the truth that most leaders never get taught, and that is your energy is your leadership capacity. It's not your calendar, not your title, not your to-do list, right? When your energy is depleted, everything takes more effort. Your decisions, your conversations, your patience, and even your clarity. You don't lose effectiveness because you forgot how to lead. You start to lose effectiveness simply because you're tired. You know, leadership culture has celebrated pushing through. Just one more meeting, one more email, one more late night. And sometimes, short pushes are necessary. But when pushing becomes your default, it stops being a strength for you and it turns into actual strain. One of the reasons that leaders get confused about energy is because they focus only on the physical fatigue. But your emotional energy matters just as much. Matter of fact, sometimes more. You can be physically rested and at the same time still be emotionally depleted. You're carrying other people's emotions. You're managing conflict, making high stakes decisions, holding responsibility without having very much relief. And all of that costs you energy. Now, when you as a leader are under this constant pressure, your nervous system stays activated. You're always on. You're always anticipating. You're always scanning for problems. And over time, this creates strain. You start to become more reactive. You're not as patient as you used to be. You're not even as creative as you typically are. And it's not because you're bad at leadership, but because your system is simply overloaded. And here's something I want you to think about. Not everything drains us equally. There are certain tasks that pull more energy out of us because they require more emotional labor. There are certain people who drain us because maybe we haven't been very clear with boundaries. There's also certain decisions that drain us because maybe the stakes are really high or they feel really heavy. But energizing leadership starts with noticing what these patterns are, right? This is not about judging them. It's simply about noticing them. It's about that awareness that I talk about all the time. And, there are some energy leaks that most leaders don't see, right? They hide kind of in plain sight. There may be unclear expectations. There's this constant context switching, moving from one thing to another, being in meetings that seem to have no purpose. It's also saying yes to things when you really mean maybe or even no. It could also hide in holding on to things or carrying things that really and truly don't belong to you. Now, individually, all of these things may seem small, but collectively, they are exhausting. And so, what we need to do is preserve our energy throughout the workday. Energizing leadership isn't about escaping work, right? It's not about avoiding work. It's about working differently. You need to create space in between your meetings. I call it buffer time. You can conserve energy by grouping similar tasks together. That's called task chunking. Protecting your most focused energy for what matters most. That's having focus time. And also reducing unnecessary decisions, right? Decision fatigue is real, and every single decision you make drains your energy. Some small shifts can start to create very real relief for you. So I want to share with you some micro resets that you can practice. You don't need an hour to reset, okay? Sometimes all you need is just 60 seconds. That can look like pausing before you respond, taking a deep breath before you go into your next meeting. Go for a really quick walk. Walk around your neighborhood if you work from home, or walk around your office building, right? Just a really quick walk. Here's one that a friend of mine just recently shared with me, and that is just taking a moment to unclench your jaw and relax your shoulders. I didn't even realize how much I walked around with my shoulders kind of tensed up. And so I tried to catch myself throughout the day and just allow my shoulders to drop and relax. Some of the most important decisions that you make as a leader are not going to be strategic. They're actually going to be protective. It's choosing what doesn't really need your involvement, taking time to delegate sooner rather than later, clarifying ownership in whatever it is that you do delegate, and ending meetings early. Don't keep meetings going just simply because you had the time allotted. Every single decision either drains or preserves your energy. And here's something that leaders rarely connect. Low energy leads to lower quality decisions. When you are depleted, your default is urgency. You become less patient. You probably even choose speed over taking the time to clarify. But protecting your energy is going to help to protect your judgment. Now, when you as a leader manage your own energy well, your team will feel that. Your communication is going to improve, your reactivity decreases, and people start to feel steadier. They feel safer. And that energy is contagious. But at the same time, so is depletion. So you need to make sure that you are doing all that you can to protect your own energy, so that that is the environment that you create a high energy environment for your team. So I want to leave you with this word of encouragement, right? You do not have to earn your rest. You don't need to justify your need for recovery. You don't need to wait until you are exhausted before you take the time to re-energize. Energizing your leadership is not something that is self-indulgent. It is responsible. What you are doing is creating sustainable productivity. If this episode helped you to realize how much your energy is impacting your leadership, a leadership reset session can help you to identify where your energy is leaking and what shifts will help you to restore your capacity. In that 75-minute session, we'll get clear on what is draining you, what is fueling you, and how you can lead with more ease and steadiness. You can book your session using the link in the show notes. And as always, thank you for being here. And until next time, well, before I say that, in our next episode, we're going to move into S, which is strategize. This is how you create plans that match your energy, not fight against it. All right. Now, until next time, remember to lead well and live well.